Hey there, and welcome to this week's training session. Today, we're going to be doing an introduction to copywriting and how we can implement copywriting to our websites and our content to increase conversions. Copywriting is something that, to be honest, a lot of people don't tend to implement on their website. And it's a big mistake, is it can definitely help improve conversions, click-throughs, and all of that good stuff. So we're going to start in just a moment. We'll just give time for people to join in so they can see the training live. If you've got any questions or comments, please do post them below and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Either we'll do it at the start or towards the end of the training. So we're more than happy to answer any questions that you do have on copywriting. So I'll just pull up the presentation. There we go. So yeah, we'll start in just a couple of moments. Just wait for some people to come live. So if you are wanting to improve your conversions, get more sales, get better click-through rates, get more traffic on your site, all of that good stuff, you're going to need to start implementing copywriting. And even more so now with the Google changes, you know, the product review updates, whether that's making a massive difference at the moment or not, is debatable. But in the future, it could become more important. And you can see that that's kind of the direction that they are potentially heading towards. So if you can get on the copywriting side and learn how to implement some of this copywriting tips, then you're going to be one step ahead of the competition when more of these changes happen, because your content's going to be a lot more valuable and it's going to be a lot better designed to you know, it's going to be more unique. But more importantly, the key to copywriting is that you're going to be able to help boost that traffic. You're going to be able to implement techniques on your page titles, on your meta descriptions, which is going to make more people click through. And then once they're actually on, it's going to generate more sales. So we will get started now. Like I say, if you've got any questions, please do put them in the comments and I'll get through to them either throughout the training or at the end. So, introduction to copywriting. Now, a bit of a disclaimer, I have I've been writing content for my websites for years now. Really enjoy writing content. And it's only really been the past few months that I've started really looking into copywriting. And it's completely changed my entire outlook on writing content. But it's definitely something that I'd recommend people do. So I'm just sharing some of the tips that I've learned along the way. Hopefully you find it useful and can implement it in your own content. So let's get started. So what we're going to be covering today is the difference between writing content, so your typical affiliate content, and the difference between that and copywriting. We will then look into why you should learn copywriting, finding the right voice for your content, learning what your visitors' pain points are and how to use that to write better content. We'll then look at how to write an effective hook to actually keep them on your page so that they actually stay on your page, read the entire piece of content and do what you want them to do. How you should format your content for better results and, again, improved engagement, and tips on making your copy convert better so that you make more sales. And then, like I say, at the end, we'll have a session for any questions that you might have. So first of all, what's the difference between content writing versus copywriting? So content writers, are your typical affiliates. They write content on their website. They can use storytelling. So, typically the introduction might be, use this product, blah, 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 seen these results, blah, 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 the standard storytelling kind of aspect. And then generally the content is there to inform and educate. So it's written in a way to be more of an educational piece. If it's a product review, it tends to be, what is this, how it works, what are the ingredients, what are the benefits, where can I buy it? That's the typical product review kind of format. It's very educational and informative. And generally these sites, they build authority and trust over time. So the idea is they tend to be very content rich sites. They've got a lot of piece of content. They're designed to get people to go through a funnel, to build that trust and that authority, and that tends to take time. And then it also tends to be longer form content like blogs and articles. So, you're looking at 2,000-3,000 words. Now, the difference to that to a copywriter is that a copywriter writes their focus, the actual piece of content, to be more sales focused. So rather than informative and educational, it tends to be very sales focused and also aim to build up leads and traffic to your website, or to your sign up. And copywriting tends to use emotion to actually sell the content. So use that emotion to get the visitor to actually want to take action, to actually click that affiliate link. Content writers, you tend to educate. You've got the click here to find out more. Whereas with copywriting, they want to click that link before they've even seen it. They need to click that link. They need the answer. And generally, copywriters, it's used in ads, emails, websites. So it's used in a lot of places. And to be completely honest, copywriters do everything that content writers do as well. So copywriting, it will use storytelling, it will inform people, it will educate, and it will also build that authority and that trust, because you're getting emotionally connected to the reader. With content writing, you don't tend to connect as much to the reader, whereas copywriting you do, because you're getting a lot more, you're putting a lot more emotion into it and a lot more personality. So why should you actually learn copywriting in the first place? Why should you spend time looking at your content and implementing these copywriting tips to actually change your content? Why should you do that? So first of all, you will see an increased click-through rate. So if you spend time putting the emotion, things like that, into your page titles, your meta descriptions, you're going to get more people clicking through, which is going to benefit you on a SEO level, because if your site's set position 2 or 3, people are clicking through and staying on your site. That's a positive sign to Google. You're going to end up ranking higher because your website is answering that query. So you're going to see more click-throughs, you're going to see more traffic, and potentially you'll see more better rankings as well. It also allows you to connect with your visitor and have better time on site, so better engagement. So with copywriting, like I said a moment ago, you are more, you're emotionally connected to that visitor. They are kind of hanging on every single word that you write, because they're looking for that answer. You're tugging at their heartstrings, basically. You're getting emotional with them. And then you're going to see increased conversions, because you know exactly how to pull on those heartstrings, how to get that emotion across, which is going to encourage them to actually purchase. And let's face it, what's better, 1 sale per 10 visits or 2 sales per 10 visits? So with without doing copywriting, a lot of people will write content, spend time getting it ranked and all of that stuff. You could be getting traffic already to your website, which you're kind of leaving on the table. If your site is converting at 1 in 10 with your current content, if you implement some of the copywriting techniques, then you can double, quadruple, that conversion rate and make even more with the same amount of traffic. So then imagine if you are converting better with your current traffic and then actually start building more traffic into it, you're just going to, sales are just going to explode. So hopefully that's all been helped so far. Like I say, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer. So the first thing that we need to do when implementing copywriting is we need to actually find the right voice. And this is the voice of your content, of your website. And finding the right voice is really important, because it's what is going to connect with the visitor. So if you're writing to, if your website is focused around women, then having a masculine, macho kind of tone of voice is not going to work. It's not going to connect to your visitor. So the first thing that you need to do is kind of think about the tone of your website as a person. So create a persona. What's their age? What gender are they? What's their personality like? If they're an aggressive person, then the content will have that in there. So you'll have strong words like power, dominate, all of this stuff in the actual content. If they're a passionate person, then that passion should also be reflected in the content. And that works really well when you have a persona to the site, because you can build the site persona around the tone of voice as well. So you're actually creating almost like a fictional person that is actually writing that content, and that's going to help you to connect and, like it says here, relate to the reader. The more you connect to the reader, the more you relate to them, the more they're going to connect to you and relate to you, and then actually follow the advice and hopefully purchase the product. So you need to think about what kind of person your visitor is expecting to be writing that content. You know, would a gym goer relate to a middle-aged mother looking to lose weight? And then at the same time, if your website is a professional medical website, is it actually going to have humor in the content? So you need to think about the tone of voice for the site to determine what content you're writing. You can put humor and personality into most pieces of content, other than obviously your big medical sites, but you just need to make sure you get that tone of voice right. And that's how you build up the personality of the person behind the site. Just take a quick drink when I get onto the right screen. So the next thing we need to do before we even actually start writing the content is to understand the visitor's pain points. So what are they having troubles with? What are they finding difficult? And you need to know the pain points, because it's going to be used for you to be able to write the content to combat those pain points. So if, for example, somebody is looking at fat burners and they're scared, you know, do they actually work? The pain point, do they actually work? They don't know if they work. You know that in your content, you have to emphasize on the fact that they do work and why they work and how they work, because that is going to answer that pain point, which is going to help improve conversions. And it's generally really easy to find pain points. I'll show you one now. You can find them. Let me just come out of here. You can find them through Google, Reddit, Facebook groups. It's basically just joining the communities that niche is in and finding what people are asking to find a pain point. So if I go to Google, type in fat burners, then we can go to the people also ask. And straight here, we can see, do fat burners really work? So that is a pain point. People are asking, do they actually work? So in your content, you have to provide evidence as to why they do work. Go into details about the ingredients, what ingredients work, what ingredients don't work, and all of that good stuff. And then you can obviously expand on these questions, and that will open up more. So we can also look at, say, legal steroids. What's the closest thing? What are the 3 types? So these are not really so. So these are actually finding out what the main types are. How long can you take them for? This is obviously more steroids, but it's, people are looking for information on how to actually use the product. How long does it take to work? So again, a pain point is potentially that somebody wants to see quick results. So therefore you need to emphasize how long results will take, and that'll obviously answer that pain point. And like I said, you can find Reddit groups and Facebook groups, and it's just about getting to be a part of these communities so that you can see what people are struggling with, what those pain points are, so that you can then write your content to answer the pain points. And the actual initial paragraph in your content, which a lot of people call the introduction or the hook, that's perfect place to answer the pain points, because with the hook, that's the first thing that people read, and people will only, they'll come on your site, they'll be on there for a couple of seconds. If you don't grab their attention, they're going to go away. So if you can answer the main pain point for that piece of content that you're writing in that introduction, in that hook, then you're going to hopefully hook them in and they're going to keep on reading. So talking about hooks, let's talk about hooks. So writing an effective hook, that's right, yep. So writing an effective hook. So first of all, why is the hook important? Like I just mentioned, don't treat it just as an introduction. So, you know, I'm guilty of it myself. We tend to just introduce the piece of content, what it is, what they're going to learn, and the benefits of it. That doesn't necessarily grab their attention. Yes, they want to learn that, but they want you to tell them fairly quickly, straight away. They want the answer. Time's short. If you're going to go into details as to what they're going to learn by reading their piece of content first, they might just think, well, I don't want to wait that long. I don't want to read this entire piece of content. It's funny enough that if you tell somebody, you know, read this piece of content, you'll get the answer, they won't do it. Whereas if you show them and actually use it in your content to keep them hooked and keep them entertained and keep them interested, before long you'll notice that they've read the entire piece of content. So there's a very much a different way of doing it in copywriting rather than just content writing where you're telling them to read through or what they're going to find. And a lot of people tend to write that introduction paragraph to try and get the feature snippet. I've done it myself. It works really well. But you have to decide on whether that's worth reducing conversions, because you know you can obviously convert better by keeping more people interested in the actual content. So the first thing you need to do is speak with your hook, is speak directly to your visitor. So don't write it as though you're speaking to an entire group or even to yourself. A lot of people, when they write the introduction or the hook, it'll be things like, I'm going to show you this, I'm going to do this, I've seen results such as this. You want it to be very you focused. So you're going to see this, you're going to see these benefits, you're going to see this, you're going to get this. You want to keep it as you focused as possible. And a good tip is to also include a statistic, something that is potentially, if you can, blow their mind and really get them engaged and interested in that piece of content. So, you know, it could be, did you know 25,000 people did this or read this article, or need to lose weight or don't need to lose weight, or, you know, things like that. Give them an interesting statistic, get them interested, get them engaged. And then also you can ask them a question. So get them thinking, get their brain going and thinking about the actual question, what the answer to is it. And also by asking the question, it makes them think that they need to know the answer. It gets their inquisitive brain going. You know, they're thinking, if you ask them a question like, did you know 5 out of 10 people don't do this when losing weight, and then you don't give the answer straight away, you wait a little bit and then give the answer, it's going to get them wanting to know that answer. And you want to get a bit personal. So, you know, get yourself in there, get your own personality, get the tone of voice in there, show that you're relatable to that. There's a piece of content that I've been writing just for this example, which was about weight gain and losing weight. And I put in there, you know, I've gained a bit of weight drinking too much wine. But it's those kind of things that people relate to, and it's that kind of gets people to keep on reading, because you and them are going through the same pain points, which is going to keep them engaged. So get personal, get your own personality into the content. And as well, analogies and metaphors can work great. It really helps to connect to the visitor and just add a little bit of humor in there sometimes as well. So I'll go over an analogy that I've added in just a moment. But it really helps to get that personality across. And the idea of the hook as well is to kind of get the visitors to think of a picture when they're reading your introduction. So you want them to get their imagination going. So using words like, you know, picture this, imagine, consider. So things like, you know, imagine looking in the mirror and not hating what's reflected back at you, or imagine taking your shirt off at the beach and having that six-pack, you know, things like that, which kind of get people thinking, oh yeah, I imagine myself at the beach with my six-pack. I'd love that. How do I get it? I'll carry on reading. So it's things like that that, again, hook them in and keep them reading your content. And then it's all about the detail. So I'll put more onto this in a moment, but getting more detail in your content. And what we find with copywriting, and what I've found, is that you tend to have less words. It's all about reducing the actual word count and having concise paragraphs and concise writing, but you're going to compensate that by adding more detail, and it's more relevant detail. It's not just fluff. You know, I've written a lot of content and a lot of it is just fluff. It's just padding text just to fill out the piece of content. Whereas when you do effective copywriting, you're actually adding details in there. You're getting rid of the fluff and adding useful details. So here's just a couple of hook examples from some content I've been working on. I'll read through them and hopefully you can see how much of a difference and how it can hopefully grab people in. So the first one is, if you're reading this, you probably want to know if it's worth your money or not. I don't blame you. I read so many reviews before I got one as well. I do actually use the pizza oven. In fact, I've been using it for months and I wanted to use it first before sharing my review. So my promise to you is that I am going to share my honest thoughts on the Uni Firer. In this article, I will share my first impressions, how easy it is to set up and use, what I like, as well as what I don't like. And finally, common questions that I had and found answers to, just in case you have the same question I did. So let's get on with the review. So straight away there, you can see that one of the pain points is whether or not people feel, is it worth the money? So that's the first thing that I combat. I relate to them and say, you know, I know you're wondering if it's worth the money or not. Another pain point is exactly how easy it is to set up and how to use it. So again, I combat that. I mentioned that I'm going to be explaining how easy it is to set up within this review. And the next one is one that I'm still working on for the AM Ninjas website, but I'll go through it. So, hey there, dreamt of earning an income online. We all have. Did you know that it is possible? And I'm not talking about a little side hustle. You can earn a passive income or even enough to replace full-time earnings. There's so much bull online about making money online, but affiliate marketing is the real deal. I have been an affiliate for over a decade, and for the past 10 years, I've also worked with thousands of affiliates as an affiliate manager. Believe me, I've seen just how much money they make. Today, I'm going to show you how you can get started in affiliate marketing. It's a long read, but it's well worth it, so buckle up. So with this hook, the biggest pain point that you know, a lot of people see when making money online is whether or not it's actually possible. And straight away, I've mentioned, you know, I said, we wonder, is it possible? And I give a bit of statistics. You know, I've been with the business, I've been here for 10 years, doing affiliate marketing for over a decade. So I know it's possible. And I've seen just how much people make. I obviously also reference that there's a lot of fake stuff on the internet and combat that by showing that this is the real deal. So it's just these little introductions that hopefully grab that user's attention and just keeps them reading more and more. Just have a drink. So again, if there's any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. There's obviously quite a lot of information, so more than happy to answer any questions. And you know, if you like those hooks, let me know. It'd be good to get some feedback. So next slide. Yep. So the next thing is actually formatting the content. So making it actually visually more appealing and therefore make people read longer. So is formatting even anything to do with copywriting? And it 100% is. You know, you need to have good formatting. It's the way that the content is formatted, which is going to help to get that visitor actually reading through your content. You know, people scan content, so therefore you need to create that copy, create that content in a way that is easily scannable. They can get an answer to everything they need just by quickly scanning through it. And you want to be able to make it as easy as possible to get your point across. And one of the first things you want to do is break down the walls of text. Does it really need to look like a book? The amount of times that you see websites which has a block of text, block of text, block of text, block of text. And even if you put an image in there to break up the text, it's still blocks of text, really big blocks of text. And I'm guilty of myself. Before I started doing more copywriting, my content was always like that. Paragraphs, I'd always say, make sure each paragraph is four sentences or no more than 4 or 5 lines. And that does still make it really hard to read because it is a block of text and it puts people off. And as soon as somebody lands on a site and there's just this wall of text, a lot of people go away because they just don't want to see it. So basic principles of formatting is make it scannable, make it so that people can just quickly scan and see what are the main points of that content. Look at it yourself, go off the page, come back on it, have 10 seconds, just look at the page for 10 seconds and see what stands out and what doesn't stand out. You then want to break the pattern. So, as humans, when we're reading content, when we're looking at content, if it all looks the same, if every single paragraph on your website is 4 lines long, the brain gets bored, the brain gets tired, there's repetition, it just switches off. So after half of the content, they're not even paying attention. So you want to break that pattern. You want to make the sentences different lengths. So, one paragraph might be just 1 line, or it might be 2 lines, or it might be 3 and then go to 1. So it's just breaking up that pattern, not having it so structured so that the brain doesn't get bored. And then we also want to add a little bit of white space just to give the eyes a break. If it's text after text after text and there's not much breakage in that, then people get tired, people get bored, and they turn off. So quick tips on formatting: use single short sentences. So make sure sentences are short. We're writing content for 8-year-olds, so you don't need to have complex 20-word sentences. Have short sentences, get to the point as quickly as possible. Reduce the word count, get to the point, and just make it very simple to read. I'll show you some examples shortly, but you just need to have it as simple and as easy to follow as possible. Don't use big words, just make it simple. Like I said, make paragraphs different lengths, break that wall of text. Add bullet point lists to again break up the content, and also add some quickly digestible information that people can just scan, read, and see. Use subheadings to break up long text. You don't even need to do it so it's subheadings that are bigger sized font. Keep it the same size as your body if you want, but just use it to break up that text a little bit. And you can then add emphasis to the content by using caps and bolding. So caps is really powerful. So having capital letters in a word is incredibly powerful and is really good at getting people's attention and just showing how serious you are on that piece of content. So definitely look at using caps and bolding. You want to use it sparingly, so you don't want one paragraph with lots of caps on or lots of bolding. You want to spread it out and use it sparingly so that the impact is better. And then if you've got a long stretch of text, break it up, ask a question, put the question in bold, and then answer it straight away, just to help break it up and just again get the visitors thinking about that question. So I've got a couple of examples here. Ignore the actual content for the moment, but it's just to show you the difference in what happens when you break the content up. So I have rewritten this, but we can clearly see, we've got this big wall of text here, which is 4 lines. That's broken up here. So that has come to around about here. So we've literally split that up into, again, there's 4 lines, but it's been spread out. And then we have all of this here, which is around about here. So it's all just small sentences. They're easy to read. you know, this sentence has got what, five words in it. 5 words in it. There's 4 words in this sentence, and then there's about 6 in this one, 3 in this one, 3 in that one, 4 in that one with the caps. So it's kind of just breaking it down, making it simple, taking all of this content and just making it really easy to read. And you know, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, yeah, but there's 500 words of content here, and there's probably only 50 here, and that is true. Obviously, this piece of content will be bigger further down as we go down. There is going to be more words because you're going to get more details in there. You're going to get relevant details. You're going to get rid of the fluff, and that's going to help with engagement. So you can still get the decent word count as a piece of content like this, but it's just going to be proper, decent, detailed, which I will go into. But hopefully you'll agree, looking at these two, you know, you've got the before here, you've got the after here, you can just visually straight away see the difference in the actual content and how much nicer this reads. And like I said, with the hook, here we've got a figure here, we have another figure here, we've got things to make things stand out. So we've got the caps lock bolded and underlined just to really make it stand out. And we've got different font styles. So we've got bolded and italic, and it just really helps to grab that attention. So now we've done the tips on actually formatting the content. Let's have a look at the tips on actually writing the content. So first of all, you want to write your content for one reader and not for the entire internet and not for Google. You want your keywords in there, of course, but you don't want to be writing it for Google. And you don't want to be writing it, like I say, for the entire internet. You want to have your perfect visitor looking at the site, and you want to be writing your content to that person. You know, if your site is a bodybuilding site, a fitness site, you know, if you've got Brutal Force on there and it's all about legal steroids, you're going to be writing your content focused at somebody that is going to be interested in legal steroids. You're not going to be focusing your content on somebody that's looking to lose weight, you know, a woman that's looking to lose weight, because it's completely different. So you need to get a clear understanding who your visitor is and write the content to them. And again, that's where the tone of voice comes in that we spoke about a moment ago. So you also want to add personality to your content so that you connect with the reader. So adding your personality, you know, if you've got any humor, add that in there. So, you know, if you've got, you know, if you can think of something funny to that will add to that content, then add it in there, as long as it's obviously appropriate. And just get your personality in there. Make the content fun. So a great way of making content fun, and again, to also get your personality in there, is to add memes. Memes are an incredible way of adding humor into a piece of content and really break it up. You know, if you've got, let me come out of here for a second. So if you've got a article on weight loss, you can simply just Google, I don't know how this is going to come across, so it could be really bad. But let's have a look. So, you know, you've got one. You know, you could have something like this. Drop your content in there, drop that somewhere in there, and just add a little bit of humor. Have this one in there. And it's just, you know, memes are a great way of getting personality across, and a bit of humor across in there. And it just really grabs people's attention and gets them reading more. And if you've got your tone of voice on point, and you know exactly what your visitors like and what, you know, their kind of personality, because it's relatable, then you can get memes on there that are so effective, it'll just keep them reading and reading and reading. So memes are great. You obviously have to do it in a, you don't want to overdo it. Use them again sporadically, but memes are excellent. As well as memes, you've got jokes or I'll spell that wrong, or references to pop culture. So if there's something that is funny, a joke that's related to the niche, get that in there. Have a joke at yourself, use your own expense, joke at your own expense. I've done it a few times when, the pizza oven website, I have burnt a lot of pizzas testing out that pizza oven. So I have joked about the fact that I've ruined pizzas. I've put pictures of the ruined pizzas and everything. Have a joke about it. Get yourself in there. Get you joke at yourself and just get that humor. And then again, you can also add your inner monologue to your content. And I do this using the brackets quite often. So if I've written a bit of content and I've got a bit of a sarcastic comment to say, or I've got a little bit of my own personal thoughts, then I'll put a bracket and I'll put my personal thoughts in there, and then I'll close bracket. And that just, again, adds your personality to that content and just, again, it relates to the visitor and gets them interested. And what you want to do is obviously give the visitor what they want in the content. Don't teach them to suck eggs. Hopefully you know that phrase. So what you see a lot of the time is that when people are going to a piece of content, let's say, for example, best testosterone boosters, they go to the best testosterone boosters page, and one of the first things that they see, one of the first paragraphs that they see is, what is testosterone boosters? The introduction is normally, testosterone boosters is a pill that naturally helps to boost testosterone, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they know that. That's why they're there. They're there to buy the best testosterone boosters. They don't need to know what they are. They know what they are. They're there to buy them. So you don't need to waste that key space telling them what they already know. I mean, you can obviously use that information later down in a buyer's guide, but you want to just give them what they're looking for. Don't teach them what they already know. Get the focus of the content onto what they're looking for. And again, I mentioned it before, but add analogies or metaphors to the website, to your content, to actually get them to understand. And analogies can work brilliantly, and they can be really hard to think about as well, to be honest with you. It took me a bit of time to get this one, but I think it works really well. So you can add analogies to the content to get them to understand what you're on about, and also to get a little bit of humor in there. So this one, for example, brutal force is like the equivalent to the super serum Captain America takes, except you won't have to battle Hydra, aliens, or some dude with a giant glove. So that, to me, is a perfect analogy. It's telling people that brutal force is an amazing product that's going to help you build muscle, grow your strength, all of that good stuff. And then also references the Avengers in there as well, pop culture. So analogies and metaphors can work really well. And feel free to steal that analogy. So the next thing is benefits and details. So I mentioned before that when you do copywriting, you want to keep your content as short as possible. You want to get straight to the point. The sentences should be short, they should be concise, and they should be answering the query, answering the question, giving the information as quickly as possible. But you can actually help to build out your word count and get more content on there by adding benefits and details. And this is what is, that's one of the reasons why you do it. But the other reason is that it actually helps to, solve those pain points that people see. If you give them a benefit, tell them a benefit of the product, and then also go into details about that benefit as well. And what we find a lot of people do on product reviews, for instance, is that they lead with features of the product. So, it might be something like, this product helps build muscle. That's a feature, it builds your muscle, but it's not necessarily a benefit. A benefit of it might be, this product will help you lift more weight, will help you hit 30-pound dumbbells. You want to have the benefit in there, not just the feature. Yeah, I was reading that last point and that made no sense to me whatsoever. So yeah, you basically just want the reader you want to tell them what they want to hear. You want to give them the information they are looking for. So what benefit are they looking for? If it's going to give it to them, give them that benefit, tell them the benefit. So this is an example that I wrote up on Testogen, and the benefit was increased energy. So before doing the benefits and details, so this is the one before with a lot of fluff. It's Testogen increases your energy during workouts. The good thing about this is you get more energy during and after workouts. This way you can work out for extended periods even after working out, and you still have enough energy to do what you want. So to be honest, so much fluff there. Like, the only thing there that was worthwhile is Testogen increases your energy during workouts. Everything else is just fluff. If we look at adding benefits and details, we can change that to something like this. One of the worst things about low testosterone is the lack of energy. The amount of times I've been in the middle of a workout session and I just couldn't finish it. It's so demotivating. Testogen helps to give you more energy. You'll be able to finish your workouts. Not just that, you'll even be able to work out longer and harder, giving you more gains. So we can see clearly 3 benefits there. We have the more energy from Testogen. You can finish your workouts. You also work out longer and harder, and it gives you more gains. So there's actually 4 benefits. And the details are all in there. So you're connecting with them. You're actually showing emotion. You're connecting with them in terms of, the amount of times I've personally been in a workout and I couldn't finish it because I've got no energy. It's so demotivating. People will relate to that. That's the details, and then you get onto the benefits. So hopefully that makes sense. So finding benefits. So when you're actually writing your content, you want to ask yourself a number of questions. What is the main benefit? How will this thing improve their life? What problem does it solve? How would life, I'll spell that wrong, can't spell, I can never spell. How would life suck if that problem wasn't solved? And why is it better than alternatives? And you can ask this, whenever you mention any kind of benefit in your content. So if you're writing I don't know if I've got an example. I've got an example with details. So if you're writing any kind of benefit, then you want to just ask yourselves this, because this is going to help to write that content. So let's say, for example, how would life suck if this problem wasn't solved? So if you have a fat burner, so if your piece of content is on best fat burners or trim tone, and one of the benefits is it'll help you burn so many pounds, it'll help you burn fat. I would think about that, and I think, how is that, what would happen if this problem wasn't solved? So then it might be along the lines of, trim tone is a fat burner that is going to help you burn fat. Without it, you could continue seeing your waist size increase, making you struggle to get into your favorite clothes. So you kind of just finding out and adding details to that content around that comment, that benefit. And then when it comes to the details, you can expand the details around the benefits. So, every time you write a statement, ask the following questions: what, where, when, who, why, and how. You obviously wouldn't answer all of these, but it allows you to answer some of them. So for an example, when taking debulk, you'll be able to build muscle fast. So if I look at that, taking debulk, you'll be able to build muscle fast. In fact, many people see results within just a few weeks. So that's the when. The who. When taking debulk, you'll be able to build muscle fast. Whether you go to the gym or not, and whether you're at the gym or a home gym, you'll be able to see results, along those lines. How? So when taking debulk, you'll be able to build muscle fast, thanks to its unique ingredients that are designed to help pack that muscle on, or along those lines. These are just things that I'm thinking up off the spot. But you can see how asking just one of these questions can help to expand on that benefit. So the benefit here is obviously that debulk builds muscle fast. So you just ask that and it adds the details to it. So I just wanted to finish up with a quick piece of content that I wrote literally just before this presentation. So there's obviously still a lot more to add to it and make it improved, but I just wanted to share that just implementing a few of these strategies really can help with your content. So I'll quickly read through this just so you can hear it, so you don't have to read it. So it's basically a complete guide on finding the best fat burner. So, hey there, did you know that 39% of the world is overweight? That's around 2 billion adults. I'm not saying this to demotivate you, it's to show you that you are not alone. Over the past year, I have gained around 30 pounds. It's so easy to do with the amount of wine I was drinking. I need to make a change. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you do. That's why you're reading this, right? Now picture this, being able to feel comfortable wearing your favorite clothes and not having to breathe in so much to get them on, being there. Having fun and playing with the kids without getting out of breath. And finally, just loving the person looking back at you in the mirror. I'll say it again, you are not alone. I was in the same situation until I did the following 3 things. Exercised, sorted out my diet, and started taking fat burners. I'll get onto exercising and dieting later. Let's talk about fat burners. These took my weight loss to the next level. And fat burners are not new. They've been around for many years. They're strong products available based on actual research. You will see better and faster results. Typically, people like yourself will buy a fat burner. You want to see benefits such as burns fat, leading to weight loss, increased energy, giving you more energy for your workouts, appetite suppressant, help to reduce your favorite food cravings. Let's face it, no matter how good a fat burner is, you're going to need to put the work in. You do want results, right? So that is more of a, it still needs a bit of work, but it's more of a conversational manner. So it's actually getting, involved with the actual reader, actually getting, trying to relate to them. So first of all, we've got the hook, which, like I say, has the figures in there. 39% of the world is overweight. That's 2 billion adults. So they're not alone. It's then got that personality in there as well. So we're going on about how, it's easy to gain weight. I've been drinking wine and done the same. We're breaking up the text with italics, bolding, italics again. Now picture this. So we're trying to get people thinking about what life is like. We have been there. This is my inner monologue talking as well. We've got the caps to just really drive the attention, get that attention. We've got the bullet points to break it up. We've got the numbering again just to grab it. Again, bolding. We've got bold italics just to help emphasize things. And overall, this is a really easy piece of content to read because there's not lots of text in there. And this is more of the introduction, the hook. So below here, you might then start adding in some memes. You might add a meme, you might add a metaphor, you might add all of that stuff in throughout the content. But this is really just an example of what you can do with the tips learned. So that's it really. Any questions? I've been talking now for about 48 minutes. So hopefully you have found that useful. Hopefully it's answered questions. Hopefully you have learned something new. Hopefully it's inspired you to look into doing some copywriting for your content. I'm more than happy to help. Feel free to do some copywriting, see how you can improve your content with copywriting tips that I've shared. Send it over to me and I'm happy to review it. But yeah, so any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll just mute while I have a drink. No, there's no questions so far. That means I've either answered everything or confused everyone. No problem, Simon. I hope it is useful. Ooh. So next week's video, I think I'm going to be doing it on internal LinkedIn. Just some tips. I don't think it's going to be a long one next week. I think it'll be a bit of a shorter training. But that'll be on Tuesday because Monday is a bank holiday here in the UK. So it'll be on Tuesday next week. I've got so much content of my own to rewrite. I'd love to. It's yeah, I've started, to be honest, it's tricky because it tends to be, I've found it easier writing fresh content, like new content, rather than rewriting previous content. So I will go through the previous content and I'll take out the key bits, and then I'll just write a new article that, you know, because that can tend to be easier, and then just obviously replace. But the fat burning one that I did before this video, this presentation, that was a rewrite. So it was, yeah, it is possible. It just takes a little bit of time. And, you know, to be honest, the first step is just looking how you can actually help with the formatting. So, you know, literally break up the content so it can be formatted better. That will allow you to be able to read the content better, your own content, and then you can think about where you can add some of these things into that content as well. So sometimes just breaking it up into the smaller paragraphs can help really well. You're welcome. And there's quite a lot of good, there's a lot of good training on YouTube on copywriting. One that I have just gone through is in the affiliate marketing.gold group, which is a web copy course by Kevin Meng. And that's really good. It's a really good course. But yeah, there's a lot of good information out there. So it's definitely worth looking into and see what you can implement. Cool. I will leave it there. So I hope everyone has a beat in the blank. Yeah, that's yeah, definitely tough. I find literally looking at what other people are doing. So going and finding those that are ranking and getting their subheadings and putting the subheadings into an empty document, and then kind of start filling that out, and then going into Google and looking at the people also ask stuff and see what people are looking for, people, you know, what the pain points are, what the answers are, and that can definitely help to write that piece of content. Try not to look at the content as one big massive article. If you can get it into subheadings, it can be a lot easier just to break it down and make it less of a daunting piece of content. No worries. Cool. So we will leave it there. So I will see you hopefully next week. If you've got any questions in the meantime, drop me an email and I'll be more than happy to answer. And I hope you all have an amazing week. So till then, bye for now.